Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Welcome into another live stream. Dude, I'm so fatigued. I don't know why. Oh, I'm so fatigued. Yeah, there's been this rumor. I don't really think it's all that real. They've kind of denounced the rumor, the idea that Vance is just actually saying, you know what? No, I'm not going to run in 2028 because the administration is unpopular. Seems kind of nearsighted to me. Yeah, RIP to Kyle Busch. I heard about that. Huh, you have fatigue? Yeah, I guess I have multiple types of fatigue. DeSantis was a horrible national candidate, no charisma. Yeah, I mean, I like DeSantis as governor, but he did struggle. He was in a bad position going up against MAGA, the MAGA coalition. It was going to be really hard for him. Being associated with this administration is poison and for good reason. Yeah, but it's nearsighted. I mean, obviously, the administration, you could say their approval rating is low right now, but what happens when they decrease gas prices? I mean, it's there's two parties in the U.S. electoral system, so if Vance can get the endorsement of MAGA, it's kind of hard not to run. Like, does Vance really think he's going to be politically viable in 2032? I find that hard to believe. It seems very unlikely to me if he decides to sit out 2028 that he's going to be the option in 2032. It's just so far away, though. Even 2028 is far away in the political sense. Pepe, what's up, man? Yeah, happy Memorial Day. You heard that the U.S. have made strikes on the coastline of Iran? Yeah, I saw somebody in my Discord talking about that. I didn't even know it, honestly. So I wonder if that potentially is in reaction to the Iranians possibly not agreeing to that ceasefire that was rumored. When was that, Saturday? I like DeSantis as well, and that's why I'm trying to forgive the 2024 campaign, because I just think you're going up against MAGA, the coalition. You're not going to be able to beat him. But yeah, he did struggle. There were some embarrassing moments. People say he's too awkward. That's like an arbitrary thing. Like, what do you mean by that? I mean, I can kind of understand it. Memorial Day is about mourning. Well, it's about honor. It's about honoring. That's why people can say Happy Memorial Day. Michigan's on hyperdrive 2027 recruiting. The average is the most important. When you look at recruiting, dude, just look at your recruiting average. I think Michigan's probably outside the top 10 in overall average. But honestly, even looking at that in July or whatever, June, I guess it's not even June yet. The way kids decommit and then commit to different schools, it's following recruiting is it's not what it once was. You used to actually be able to follow recruiting. Now it's like, well, actually, the weird thing now is they lock these kids down by like the early fall, and then all the classes are decided. But then there are flips because people offer more money. But if you're following recruiting, look at your team's overall average. That's what'll determine whether or not your class is great. Just because you've got a lot of commits and you're in first place or second place right now doesn't mean shit. You're just gonna fall down the rankings when other teams get commits. Who do you think would be better, Rubio or DeSantis? In terms of in terms of the Republicans winning electability, probably Rubio with Hispanics, honestly. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rubio, I'll be honest. I probably would take DeSantis over Rubio. I would take DeSantis, but electability, I think Rubio would be better than DeSantis. And also potential national appeal with Rubio. His approval rating is the highest out of anyone within the cabinet. Now, whether or not that means something, you could say electability Vance versus Rubio. Rubio's better. Maybe there would be bigger donors behind Rubio. Still crazy how Florida was a half point away from. Yeah, that was in 2018. That is insane to think about how that state would have. I wonder how that state would have went during COVID under liberal leadership. Rubio will pander mostly to Spanish speakers. Yeah, because the Cuban background, there's a lot of Hispanics, Catholics. That would be his crowd to pander to, and then he'd want to try and keep the MAGA base as well, which he'd probably get a lot of just because he's the Republican running and Trump would be endorsing him. Your English been watching your 9/11 videos for years. Respect. Ben, I appreciate that. Thank you. Who do they interview for these bullshit polls? Yeah, I haven't been polled for anything either. I think it's phone calls is what it is. The online surveys apparently are really inaccurate, so I think it's phone calls is how they do it. But yeah, I mean, who's really gonna do a survey? But I mean, you got to look at something. You got to look at some type of data. You got to look at some type of polling to get a gauge on things. Reds or Indians? Indians. Not the Indians anymore, but man, I always have to crack my fingers. Since you started making stadium videos, are you making a video about Old Pitt Stadium? I don't think so. Uh, Probably not about Old Pitt Stadium. Unless I find something intriguing about it. Nice haircut. I got a haircut. When did I get my haircut? Maybe like 10 days ago I got a haircut. But I haven't really been on camera much, to be fair. Do you think the JD rumors are true? No, I don't. I don't think they're true. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, he really thinks he's going to be viable or relevant by 2032. I don't see it. I think if Vance wants to be president, it's got to be 2028. But 2032, man, that's a huge risk. If you really say, well, the administration's not doing well enough, I don't want to run in 28. Eesh. You're risking a lot. You have a chance in 28 at least. 2032, you'd have to imagine if the MAGA candidate loses in 28, the party is wide open. So much of this is unsolved. I feel like if you're Vance, it's so short sighted to start whispering that you don't want to run because the administration has too bad of an approval rating or something. It's historic. Well, there's a lot of historic stadiums, man. That there's a long list of historic stadiums that are a lot more popular than Pitt. I mean, whether or not it's historic, it's there's a lot to choose from. How old are you? I'm 96. I'm 99. It's 3 years younger. Obviously, when Vance answers questions about whether or not he's running, he's just going to say it's too early. That's just an unforced error if you say anything about possibly running in 2028. Yeah, it's way too far away. But I think it's going to be a milk toast, just normal midterms. I think the Republicans are going to win the Senate. I think the Democrats are going to win the House. And that's just how it's going to be. Now, in terms of the seats, I think Republicans may be able to 52 seats in the Senate. Liberals will say, well, it'll be 50-50 or 51-49. I think 52 maybe. They might lose two, but then they might gain Michigan. Is the Tampa Bay MLB team named after an animal stingray or a sun ray of light? They're named after the stingrays. Well, they were the Devil Rays originally. I think they changed it because of marketing, the word devil. So they were the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And that was because of stingrays. I mean, look at their mascot. You think Rubio may take any job if he becomes politically unviable? Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, if this war really stretches on that long, years, I don't see how Republicans can win in 28. I don't see there being a chance. You're gonna have this never-ending Middle Eastern war. You're not gonna win in 2028. It's just not realistic to expect. If the war continues, Republicans losing Senate. You mean if the war goes into the midterm? Yeah, I mean they could they could realistically lose the Senate if that happens. I can't deny that possibility, even though I think it's. I mean, it would be such a choke job to lose the Senate with the current races we have. In terms of which states are having races, it's very favorable for Republicans. But I mean, if you continue the war with Iran, the question is how unpopular is that? How much does it suppress Republican turnout? Rubio disqualified in your books his support for H-1Bs. Yeah, that's the thing. Is Vance is more of a well, you think about Vance, he's got an Indian wife, but Vance is more hardcore against immigration than Rubio is, I would say. You get Christians, MAGA whites, plus a boost from the Midwest with Vance. Yeah, I think Vance would do better than Rubio in the Rust Belt. Rubio would probably outperform Vance in states with a bunch of Hispanics. I mean, I guess Texas, I guess maybe North Carolina. All right, the lady's going to read this. Did you see that Trump now passed Biden on giving H-1B visas to Indians, now 2.3 million? No, I didn't see that. You're Trump has passed Biden in terms of H-1B visas distributed. I don't know. I don't think that's correct, honestly, because they change. I know it hasn't gone into effect yet, but they changed the way H-1Bs are distributed. And now, of course, she's not going to read it. Custard, thank you for the donation. Despite everything that's happened at this point and your personal views on the war, do you think more kinetic military action could bring the right results at this point? Well, it depends what the goal is. Because if you're more aggressive, now this is the thing. Obviously, it's a situation where Iran has kind of called the United States bluff. The US has this crisis where the war is extremely unpopular, so the longer it goes on, the worse it is for us, and hypothetically, the more leverage Iran has. So time is on Iran's side. So if you really want to eliminate that, then yeah, aggressively strike them. The problem with aggressively striking them, it's going to reset everything in terms of gas prices, in terms of the economy. You're going to see the stock market go back down if you get really aggressive about it. But that would be the way to really shake up Iran, is by doing that, and possibly you gain. I mean, I think that's what they're trying to do with the blockade, because the blockade was seen as like a happy medium. So you don't want to strike them aggressively, because if you strike them aggressively, you're going to be dealing with the fallout for months of higher gas prices and a shaken up economy and inflation. But you have to do something, because otherwise you won't have leverage against them in negotiations. So that's why you blockade them. Now, I don't know what's happening with the blockade, whether or not that's working, but it also depends on the overall strategic goal. Do you want Iran completely decimated? The reason why this is so annoying to talk about, and really it's not enjoyable to even discuss, is because I really don't care about Iran, honestly. And so much of this is just, well, they might get X if they do Y. It's like, well, they might develop a nuclear bomb. It's like people can't even agree on if they're developing one or not. The conversation is so tiring. It is so tiring. Any Middle Eastern conversation is so tiring. That's why I had to step back, and I was like, it's just so dumb. Like, why are we squandering the entire administration over this? It's dumb. I just hate talking about Middle Eastern stuff. It's just so annoying. There's nothing more uninteresting, honestly, than this stuff. It's not enjoyable. Iran seems to be dictating the terms of the deal. The U.S. should set the terms. It's because, well, it's because they have leverage over us. I don't think they're necessarily dictating the terms. I think it's a negotiation back and forth. But I don't know. I'm not in the walls of the negotiations. I don't know how much the U.S. is compromised versus Iran on these type of deals. And then, dude, it's like these people, they're like, the deal is 90% complete. What does that even mean? Like, dude, I don't even care. Just tell me if the deal is done or not. I'm not going to continue to do this where it's a ceasefire, it's 90% complete. Oh my God. Dude. Iran couldn't hit America if they wanted to. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. It is propaganda to force the U.S. into military action against Iran. Go to order at Cane's. Raisin. I don't really eat Raisin Cane's, honestly. I don't think I've ever eaten one. Maybe I had it once. Mm-hmm. The only Democrat I see beating Vance Rubio ticket would be Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris, which is no. I don't think Michelle Obama has the clout anymore. I don't think Michelle Obama could win anything at this point. I think the Obamas lost. Yeah, I'm not eating much FS. I've been having too much sodium. That's what I realized. So I've cut back on the sodium. Now I just have these Chick-fil-A, or no. I have Chipotle chicken bowls. This is good, healthy stuff. So I don't eat that type of stuff anymore. I don't eat fried food, at least for the time being. Maybe for a 2 week period. I just eat Chipotle because it doesn't even taste that good, I'll be honest, because I'm just trying to eat healthier. Double female ticket. Yeah, dude, Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris ticket, that would not win shit. Maybe if it was wokeism 2020 with BLM signs everywhere, it would win. It's not going to win nowadays. That shit's over, thankfully. I don't think people would vote for that. I don't think Hispanics would vote for that. That's what the liberals really got to worry about now. It's funny that Iranian ballistic missiles can hit Ukraine and the Balkans. Well, if they want to do that, it's going to be a major problem for them. I mean, Iran doesn't want to involve these other countries. It's just worse for them. Right now, they have the U.S. isolated because NATO doesn't want to help the U.S. They're not going to do anything like that. I don't know what that is. Sweet green. I'm not sure what that is. No, I don't really eat at any of those places, those healthier places. We don't really have them. Those are like California, inner, bigger city type chains, I feel like. We have Culver's. Culver's is very good, but I haven't been eating it. Culver's is very good. We have Raising Canes, but to me, I just think Culver's is just better than Raising Canes. It just tastes better, and I'd never had Raising Canes in like 10 years. And then we have Chick-fil-A. We have all the bullshit, like the super fast food, McDonald's, Wendy's. Although Wendy's, I think, is going to go out of business here. I don't think Wendy's is doing very good. Arby's. Freddy's, which I never had that. I've had Freddy's once, actually. It's whatever.
At the man in the box 90 tipped $5 through Super Chat. Going my brother in Dublin by the sea bus, let's get Chipotle, rolling on the floor laughing emoji, 6 hours drive from Chicago.
What are you saying? Going with your brother in Dublin by the sea bus by Columbus? Yeah, I don't know. You want to meet it for Chipotle? You want to do a meet and greet? Listen, I'm down for just some Chipotle. I used to get the burritos. The tortilla is too much. I can't get it. Yeah, I see Wendy's have been closing in places. It doesn't surprise me. These really fast food places, that's not the style. Now people like they like the fast food, but there's a standard. That's like when you go to Chick-fil-A, the employee standard is higher. That's why I stopped going to all those places. I never really went to them, but the standard for employees at McDonald's and Wendy's is the floor. These employees, they're not qualified to handle food. They're just not. At Chick-fil-A, they're nicer, they're more qualified. Let's just call it what it is. I have like a you should do an MMA match with Dean Withers. Dude, you saw what happened with him. That dude posted a fucking that dude posted a photo on X and had to delete it. He got bullied so bad. Oof, that's a tough look when that happens. Deal is 90% complete, boomer slop. That makes sense because it was Scott Jennings who said it. Yeah, yeah. Let's just say there's a higher standard for hiring with Chick-fil-A. And even I've noticed with Culver's, well, maybe it's just the one by me. I've noticed the employees a little bit better than some of the other places. Chick-fil-A, the employees at Chipotle are pretty good. McDonald's, Wendy's, this is not. This is not. I don't want. These people should not be handling food. There we go.
At him not doing ok right now, tip $5 through Super Chat. I'm pleased to announce the same thing I've been saying for the past 6 weeks while nothing is happening. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Dude, I saw one of Trump's Truth Socials. What is it? The rapid response posts just Trump's Truth Socials as screenshots. It's like just this wall of text the size of Mount Everest. This recent one, maybe I have to find that. I was like, dude, you've got to at least space it. It's literally I'm getting eaten by this wall of text. Like, who's gonna read this? And it's Trump trying to give us an update on the negotiations with Iran. And it is a mountain of text. Just a mountain of text. It's like, dude, come on. Culver's and Chick-fil-A have comparable service. Well, I know Chick-fil-A is pretty consistent at all their locations. I don't know about Culver. The Culver's, the one near me, is very nice. Culver's is probably about, they constructed a brand new building that's maybe about 10 years old now. Maybe about 8 years old, honestly. So yeah, Culver's has expanded significantly. Raising Cane's, the one that's by me, is probably about 10 years old. Chipotle is about 15 years old. They put that in probably back 2010, 2011, if I had to guess. What do you think about Fishback's wedding? Do you think it's real or just for shit? Yeah, I think he's kind of destroying his campaign. Yeah, he was with another woman. Now he's with this woman. 2 weeks later, they get married. I mean, that type of stuff, I don't even get how that really helps him. I don't really see how that helps him. That seems like that's like a grift 101 central. I mean, come on. Now you're kind of just making it too obvious with something like that. Let's be real. Twitter's 140 character limit was peak. Yeah, it definitely served a purpose. It made everything more simple. But that Trump is on Truth Social. He's not even on. They just screenshot it and post it as a screenshot on Twitter anyways. Brazen Canes went downhill recently. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Any good news today? Um, there's really not a lot of news, honestly. I mean, it's Memorial Day, so there's really no big news that's come out recently about anything, I feel like. Is Trump just going to have to back down in time for the midterms? Well, they're gonna have to do some type of long-term negotiated ceasefire, or they're gonna have to do something domestically to help temporarily decrease the gas prices. They're gonna do something either way. It's not gonna stay like this. It can't. It's just not. You're just not gonna be able to have a situation where gas is $5 in conservative states and expect to do well in the midterms. It's not realistic. SpaceX IPO, it doesn't really intrigue me. I mean, the value of the company, even in the IPO phase, it's going to be valued over $1 trillion. I heard it was 1.5 trillion. So I don't really see the point of buying an asset, even if it's an initial public offering for $1.5 trillion valuation. How are we going to really make much money off of that? Nvidia is at 5 trillion, so SpaceX is going to be at 1.5 trillion. I would rather just buy Solana, honestly, than SpaceX, because I think Solana will do better than it, because SpaceX is going to be overvalued. Gas at your local station was, well, that's actually pretty cheap, 3.89. We've constantly for the past month and a half, it's been 4.99 to 4.79 to 4.99. Gas in California $6.59. $8.45 for diesel. Yeah, it's insane in California. I don't know how you guys do it with the cost of living. I mean, I guess your salaries are more, but it's pretty insane. I'm glad your surgery went well, man. Yeah, they give you pain medicine. It's you got to be careful with that. What about the recent strikes in southern Iran? Yeah, we could take a look at that. I don't know. I mean, that was Israel's doing. No, I don't know. I mean, what does this even mean? JD Vance is becoming more isolated with Tulsi Gabbard. I guess isolated in terms of being what, more anti-Israel, non-interventionist. That's what it is. Yeah, I don't know, man. The IRGC was caught laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
At the man in the box 90 tipped $5 through Super Chat. Tell at FCHR1 Stews Rex he's a nerd trying to correct me in the chat. What a noob who hasn't had a beer for the holiday. Let's all be friends. Rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Well, he's trying to correct your spelling. Yeah, that always happens with people. Zero hedge reported strikes. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what this is. I guess because they were laying mines. Why would they lay mines?
Were heard in the border city of Bandar Abbas. That's home to a key Iranian naval and air base along the strait. Iranian state media also reporting explosions in other cities as well. The attacks coming as intense discussions are underway tonight to end the war in Iran, but a deal is not in place. Iran's top security official declaring tonight, quote, there will be no retreat. And there's this from President Trump.
These incredible men and women gave their lives to ensure that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror will never have a nuclear weapon. Oh, and they won't.
We're heard in the border city of...
Oh, it was that super chat talking about... Yeah, I didn't understand what he meant. I think he wanted me to meet him for Chipotle in Columbus. That's how I interpreted it. Al Jazeera also reported strikes. You've seen nothing in recent mine placings by Iran. Self-defense strikes to protect its troops from Iranian threats.
The president has also shared his thoughts on the holiday, posting earlier today on Truth Social. He said, "Happy Memorial Day to all, including the Democrats who are disrespectful to our military and all the tremendous success that has had over the last year. God bless those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. I love you all." Not too far from the White House, there's
What do you think about the White House card? What's the main event? I don't know much about fighting. What's the main event? Self-defense strikes. It's all so tiresome. Remember, when people say that, it's all so tiresome. That comes up on my timeline a few times. Oil futures are dropping. Even after these strikes. You watching the Cavs? I think the Cavs are done. Cavs are down 3-0. You're not going to come back from that.
I would take them seriously.
Secretary, thank you so much for doing this. You're a very fit person. You know, a little birdie told me you like to run. Would you be running in 2028 for a 5K even?
In 2028?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about election stuff. Oh, I'm not answering. No, I'm very happy being the Secretary of State for President Trump. It's a great job. I can't imagine there's a better job than this in American politics, so I'm very happy doing this role.
All right, Secretary, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
She's not, it's not going to read this one. Your neighbors who are from India are literally howling in their front yard right now. Trump needs to end H-1Bs. What the fuck? Dude, what do you mean? What do you mean they're howling? What state are you? You're in Pennsylvania? I don't even know, man. It's really bad. They gotta end. They gotta end the immigration. We've just had too much of it. People are fatigued about the immigration. What's with the racism towards Indian people? Well, I think there's a lot of Indian people that come here. They don't assimilate to U.S. culture, and there's a lot of people pushing back against the Indian immigration now. Virginia. Yeah, that's a place where that's there's a lot of data centers in Virginia. That was a question asked to Marco Rubio. Yeah, I saw that. And then he said, "Well, every country has dumb people." Oh, this is what it was. Dude, dude, come on. How are we gonna, it's not even something that's palatable to read. Gas is $3.70 in Oklahoma. That's a lot cheaper than it is in my area. It's 40% more in my area, 30% more. Would you ever consider live streaming? This is live streaming. You mean IRL streaming? No, I don't want to do that. Do you do MLB college baseball predictions? No. Thoughts on the next Super El Nino event coming in the next few months? Does that mean, is that a wet season or a dry season? At that point, just drop a 2-minute video. No one is reading that. Yeah, dude, that much text is just without any spacing, without any paragraphs. I mean, limiting hurricane season. Well, last year we had a really weak hurricane season. Dude, this girl, this is an AI thing. I don't know why people believe this. Look at this. Look at the lips of this. Like, this is AI.
I was 20 to 21 in New York City. I was single and ready to fuck. You know, freshly just put a restraining order on my ex-boyfriend. The first thing I did was post a thirst trap on Instagram and then go
At Remington Nate tip $5 through Super Chat. Thanks for your content, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Remington. Yeah, how about that daylight savings time? I put out a tweet about daylight savings time. These people, it's like it's the fucking Super Bowl or something. I'll tell you what, people on social media, they're just miserable. It's just like miserable. Oh my God. Listen, with daylight savings time, obviously you're giving up something either way, which whatever you do, that's why we think it's optimized. You could say it's optimized right now. You could say it's perfect as is and whatever, because, but listen, if you want to go one or the other, you got to go with daylight savings time year round. People are like, well, it didn't work in 1974. Yeah, that's like 60 years ago. Nobody cares. Obviously, people want light at night. I mean, I've talked about daylight savings time. I remember when it was a thing a year ago when Trump wanted to do it, and there's give and take, and it's a problem because people think there's more darkness in the morning. Yeah, people are still waking up. We can afford to have more darkness in the morning. This is an AI video. I'm the only one. I mean, it's like these people just get fooled by it. You can tell by the way that Asian girl talks, it's not even a realistic. It's just not real. Smash or pass. Smash or pass. Well, I mean, in New York, fuck, dude, look at the dating market. That girl, she'd be passed around by 7 or 8s for. You got McDonald's. McDonald's every once in a while isn't terrible, but I don't eat McDonald's very often. Buy SpaceX the 3rd day after the dust settles. I'm not gonna buy it because, I mean, unless it tanks, you're gonna buy something valued at $1.5 trillion. Realistically, what do you really expect to make off of that? Honestly, you think it's gonna go to 2 trillion? I mean, maybe if it goes down. No, daylight savings time means more nighttime. Standard time means less nighttime. Sun means more morning light. Standard is less. People get it twisted. Standard is less nighttime light.
At the man in the box 90 tipped $5 through Super Chat. How do you feel about the White Sox this season with Murakami? Will they overtake the Indians, Guardians?
No, I don't think they're gonna I don't think the White Sox are. They might be a 500 team this year. That would be an overperformance for them. They've got a decent farm system. Murakami, I don't know if he can. He's prone to striking out. I think he's gonna have a tough second half of the year, honestly. I work at SpaceX. I promise you it's going north of 2 trillion. See, then why would we buy it if it's valued that high? It's like buying Nvidia or something. We're buying at the top. I mean, what is Tesla at? 3 trillion? 2.5 trillion? Do you think Massey is legit or just a troll? Well, legit in what sense? I don't think he's a legitimate candidate for 2028. Dating advice nugget for the day. Check her Instagram. If her these women use Instagram as an extension of it's a dating profile for a lot of women. You can see, and I've seen it with a lot of guys. It's very sad. You look at the girl's profile; they're waiting to be DM'd. You got to be careful about the Instagram. The Instagram's just another way. What do you think about constantly buying Bitcoin year after year over 10 years? What, DCAing into Bitcoin? Yeah, DCAing is a good strategy for Bitcoin. You'll come out ahead. You'll come, even though now the returns are going to be limited, but still. Yeah, honestly, DCAing Bitcoin over the next 2 years is probably a really good strategy because you're catching it during a bear cycle or a more suppressed period in terms of its price. But again, it's going to be, the return is not going to be extreme like it previously was. It's too valued of an asset. Yeah, I think SpaceX is probably overvalued. I don't really see the point of buying it. It just doesn't. I mean, if it didn't have this much hype, then yeah, we could buy it. Maybe it would be a Tesla 2.0. But it's going to be so overvalued. It's like, it's not worth it. Like, I'd be fine with parking a bunch of money into SpaceX, if it was lower and you could kind of see it grow as the company grew and they talked about going to Mars and there's all this speculation and yeah, but not with all this hype surrounding it with Musk. It's overvalued. There's an opinion that BTC is going to be priced around 350, 500K in the next 10 years. Yeah, that's realistic. I mean, that's 2035, 2036. Yeah. Do you see all those create your AI girl ads on? Yeah, I do. I saw those on Instagram. Bro, is this lady gonna read this or no? This shit's annoying. Alexis, thank you. Good to see you. Hot take: America would have been fixed if we had.
At Alexis Jin tip $5 through Super Chat. Hot take: America would have been fixed if we had in our constitution that non-whites can't hold any office. At most, only exception is black.
Yeah, there's a few different changes that could alleviate a lot of the problems we have. What do you mean the insect noise in Ohio? You remember when I was live when the Charlie Kirk thing happened? I wasn't I was not live when it happened. I went live right after it happened. Probably at that probably happened like 3 o'clock Eastern. I went live at 4 or 4:30. Yeah, I don't think many people stream during the day. If people voted for Harris, then we wouldn't be in this mess. I mean, we'd be in a lot of other messes with that. We'd be in a bunch of other messes. Maybe we'd be more hungry, though. I don't know, man. Thoughts on Tyler Robinson conspiracies after all this time? I think it's kind of died down. I mean, whatever his court case happens, it's probably going to get picked back up, but I haven't really heard much in the way of that recently within the past 2 months. It's like I'm just waiting for this thing to read it. I'm going to bring this blind in. It's like a dungeon. What a beautiful sunset. Dude, this lady is just annoying as hell. It's like I start reading it and then she reads it. Alexis, thank you. My question is, are black true Americans? You're saying are blacks true Americans? They did come here during our founding, and although they were a minority, they did help build America. But they were brought here as slaves, not as citizens. So those are inherently different things. That's a conversation to be had, but I mean, in terms of the way the country was founded and the makeup and the immigration laws that we had, it's not that simple. I did do a video on Liberia, and Liberia, it's not surprising they were planning something like that. Press 1 to hear these opinions again. Remington, thank you for that. What is... I mean, I'm not sure what the donation means. Cavs losing by 25, you're kidding. You're not a college baseball person? No, I don't watch college baseball. College baseball it's super niche. It really, college baseball fandom, I think, is confined mainly to the SEC. Maybe a few, I was going to say Pac-12, but like maybe like UCLA, USC are good college baseball programs. But college baseball fandom, the only decent college baseball stadiums, it's like all the SEC. The Big Ten has, I mean, now I guess with USC and UCLA, the Big Ten, the traditional powers are horrible at baseball. Or they're not even close. Then can we consider Native Americans as American? I mean, we actually give Native Americans special reservations of land. So I think we're very nice to them in terms of how we treat them. But with Native Americans, obviously, it's a bit of a sore topic. The problem is they weren't mobilized. They really didn't have a set system. 95% of America was unexplored. The word America comes from Europe. I mean, just so much of the creation of the United States was European. This is just the reality of history. How much Norwegian do you have to claim Norwegian ethnicity? You gotta at least be 20 or 25% of a certain ethnicity to claim it, I feel. Around there. Mr. Robinson is trying to do the Mr. Simpson thing. I don't know what that means. Well, the problem, this is the issue with the natives and stuff like that. When people say it's their land, the reason that the current ether of the United States is what it is and is as powerful as it is because of Europeans. So basically what people do is they try and attribute the power that Europeans have created within the United States and give it to natives and say this is actually theirs. This was not created by them at all. That's the main issue. No, I think honestly, you could argue the daylight savings, it's optimized, right? Because you have both of them. But I would say if we had to choose one, you have to go with daylight savings time. Because you know, the thing is, you think about it, it's like, do we really want it to be where we go with daylight savings time and then that would potentially create issues to where it would be really dark in the morning? I don't know. I mean, it's definitely, you could argue either way, but if you have to choose one, I would choose daylight savings. Can we blame the dating scene on women or men? Well, I think the dating scene has been destroyed by social media and women's hypergamy, which is festered and culminated through social media and through dating apps. And obviously men are more wimpy or whatever, and it's bad, and, you know, there's blame to go around, but lack of IRL dating is the number one reason that, you know, we're seeing such a downturn in it. Because it just allows women to be selective. Keep daylight savings. I like light until 9 p.m. Oh, absolutely. I love when it's light out until 9 o'clock at night. Dude, these people are like, they lose their minds trying to argue this. It doesn't even make sense. Some of us like putting our kids to bed before 10 p.m. That doesn't even make sense. Daylight savings time is 8 months of the year. It's all through the summer. The only thing this would do is it would change in the winter, those 4 months where you would get the sun rising later, which is what people would argue against, and the sun would rise pretty late, but then we wouldn't have to deal with 5 o'clock sunsets. Now they'd be 6 o'clock sunsets, but I don't know, man. That's the thing where I hate it, and it's even worse for people in New England and in Maine and further, you know, further east of me, because I'm in the Eastern Standard Time zone, but I'm like the western part of the Eastern Standard Time. But it's like, dude, when it's pitch black at 5:03 in the afternoon, that's really not that's not good for a human's body clock. That's in the morning I can deal with it being I guess in the morning I feel like I can more so deal with it. But if simps screw a pair, women would change, no. What I mean, the simp problem is what are you talking about? More OnlyFans based or whatever? I guess they would get off of OnlyFans. The OnlyFans things should be taken care of with legislation. It's online prostitution. But The Sims, it doesn't even matter. They're going to be selective on dating apps. Women control the dating market on apps. There's way more men. So that it doesn't really have much to do with Sims in terms of the dating market overall. I mean, yeah, the OF stuff is terrible and it's got to be eliminated. Sunrise is at 4:30 a.m. in Idaho in June. Well, that's probably because Idaho is situated on the far eastern side of the Pacific time zone, if I had to guess, if that's true. No, that is a good idea by Fishback. But the problem is it's like with stuff like that, you are going to have to realistically talk about steps in doing that. You can't just say, well, we're just going to ban it, because then there's going to be other gateways and people are going to try and get around it, and you got to actually expand on it. Simple answer, get off dating apps. That's what I tell guys. I tell guys to get off dating apps and not to do it because you're playing a losing game. But even like the women on there, they have to understand the guys just want sex. They're going to be on a dating app. That's the reality. And of course, I'm sure you've heard they get passed around by the same 10 guys. The women want commitment. You're not going to get commitment from the guy that's a 9. You're just not. The guy wants to fuck 50 different girls. Then they complain and they say, guys never commit to me. And then they rack up bodies. And it's a losing game for everyone. Now, that's not everyone's experience on dating apps, but that's just generally what happens to people. L. Vance, hello Trump 2028. My girlfriend voted Paxton. Huh! Your girlfriend voted Paxton? Based girlfriend? Now, Paxton obviously is going to beat Cornyn after that endorsement in that runoff tomorrow. Trad wives on social media. You don't want your wife on social media. You don't want her. You don't want your wife attracted to social media posting, Instagram. It's all red flags. Your wife should not be interested in social media. It's not something we would want. It's not the government's job to tell people not to buy porn. Yeah, but you could just extrapolate that against drugs that are currently illegal as well. Sometimes things that are inherently bad for society have to be banned. You can't do the libertarian spiel. Not with the United States. You met your girlfriend, future wife in the real world, by the way. Yeah, that's ideal. 100% that's ideal. This one's going to play. Well, hopefully it doesn't play. 32 minutes ago on BBC, U.S. military says it has launched new strikes on southern Iran. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. I talked about that. Who knows, man? Something happened with the negotiation, and they're trying to pressure them to agree. Bro, this thing, like, it's weirdest thing. Now it cuts off. Yeah, there's fireworks going off right now. People got to stop it. I guess because it's Memorial Day. in my area, this probably happened like 6 years ago. Now it's just constant fireworks in the summer. I mean, it's not aggressive or anything, but it's kind of annoying every night. Only mad at Trump for, doing his job under Article 2 protecting America. Come on, man. That's not what this is. This is retarded to do this. We don't want a situation like this with the Middle East.
At Alexis tip $5 through Super Chat. Should a mandatory draft actually exist in the USA? It would force more men to be masculine and see the real world. Should it apply to women as well?
Okay, so I've actually always been against women really in the military being soldiers, but the problem is they want to be equal and they want all of the privileges that come with being equal, then they don't want to actually deal with things like that. But in a perfect society, women should not be soldiers because overall they're liabilities. It doesn't make sense for them to be soldiers. The draft, I don't know. I'd have to research that. Does it increase patriotism? I don't know. Maybe it would increase discipline within young men, but I for the U.S. I just can't. It doesn't seem realistic for a mandatory service. Oh, you're talking about a mandatory draft. What do you mean by that? Mandatory draft for what war? I thought you meant like mandatory service time, like countries do, like Israel does. You vote for men, presidents only. Your girlfriend and sister were mad. What, did you just tell them that? Did you just tell them you just refused to vote for women? That's a lot of guys. Fireworks or gunshots, always the Chicago question. Yeah, well, luckily in my suburb, it's not a real question. It's not a real question in my suburb. Demographics are destiny. For suburbs. For living areas. Israel uses women as soldiers and it does not really seem to affect anything. How many of them are ground soldiers? They're not ground soldiers. They do mandatory inscription, but what is that, training? That's just training.
At Alexis tip $20 through Super Chat. Mandatory draft or service time. If you're a non-mentally ill or physically ill man, you have to serve 2 years full-time in the military. However, college should also be free to men who serve. You agree?
Well, I don't know the finances behind that. It's hard to say, if that would be realistic, but listen, maybe it would create more discipline within young men. What do you think of men going after women with high-end careers? Yeah, I think women with high-end careers, honestly, are unattractive. It's just like, it doesn't really... I don't think men find that attractive. Yeah, the boss babe thing. Yeah. That's the thing, is that's not a feminine trait, so they say, oh, you're threatened. That's just not femininity. Women always list these things. This one woman on TikTok listed her top 5 things. They're all these like ridiculously masculine features. Insanely masculine features. Well, yeah, we want feminine features as men. When you're a boss bitch, that's a very masculine feature that's not attractive to us. But then they antagonize, they say, you're threatened by women. No, we're not attracted to masculine features. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that tattoo scandal. That tattoo scandal, that Ohio State tattoo scandal is insane looking back on it. Huh. They got to restore their wins. Come on. They said the players were ineligible. Why were they ineligible? They gave Alexis, thank you. That was a $20 donation. I appreciate that.
At Alexis tip $5 through Super Chat. Thoughts on the theory that feminism movement was pushed by corporations to double the workforce, thus lower the wages?
Well, I don't know at this point. I mean, is it even doing it? So many of these jobs are just slop. Yeah, the wages overall are going to be lowered with more people in the workforce. I don't know, man. A lot of these jobs, maybe this is anecdotal, I just see the trend, but it just seems like so many of these jobs are just bloated. It doesn't seem like a lot of these jobs are realistically doing anything that a lot of these kids get out of high school. Yeah, reading will give, you know what reading will do? It'll give you perspective. I can't say I've been reading books, but I do read a decent amount of history. I've been doing a lot more things where I won't know the answer to something and I used to just brush it off. Now I look it up. You try and learn more things. Well, they have to work now because the entire fucking economy's fucked. I mean, look, men are obviously going to make less now. Your significant other is 5 weeks pregnant. Yeah, congratulations. That's great. Move out here to the suburbs of San Francisco. That's going to be a no thanks. No, I've been to San Francisco. San Francisco, it's obviously got major issues with, but I mean, it's California is a beautiful state, but I wouldn't live there. What year did you graduate high school? 18. Who wants to be in San Francisco? No offense. Yeah, it's the liberal leadership, especially in a city like that. It's probably going to be super liberal mayoral leadership. With the ceasefire, Hassan, and some other stuff recently, seems like they're trying to make the base happy again. Do you sense that too? They have to. They have to, Parappa, because they're coming up on the midterms.
At the man in the
They're gonna
box
rein
90
everything
tipped
in.
$5 through Super Chat. As a Sox fan and you being an Indians fan, we can agree on Go Bucks. I think this is going to be a good year. Indiana is going to fall off. Natty?
Natty for Ohio State. I don't know. It's going to be tough, man. You know, with the 12-team playoff, it's a lot harder to predict. It's kind of a crapshoot. I think, this is what I think. I think Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, and Texas, those are the top 4. And then Georgia would be 5. But yeah, I agree. I think Indiana, people are kind of overrating Cignetti in Indiana. You have one great year that, it's like LSU had one great year in 2019. That doesn't mean you're just automatically going to be this super team. And, Indiana's going to have to prove it again with their new quarterback. I don't think they're going to be nearly as good. Yeah, Indiana, maybe 3-loss team. Yeah, I don't think Hoover's going to be that good. Hoover was okay at TCU. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about Mendoza. I just don't think they're going to be able to replicate what they did with Mendoza. Well, Notre Dame has a very easy schedule. No, Notre Dame's they're going to be a good team. They're going to be a good team. Marcus Freeman's a good coach. CJ Carr is a good quarterback. They lost their running backs, but dude, that Texas Longhorn Sports TV, that's honestly my exact it's shocking, honestly. Like, the thing is you tweet stuff out, it gets like 500 views. It's literally about fucking daylight savings time. But I don't even know why X decided to promote it like that. Like, it just doesn't even really make sense. It's not even really that. I mean, the thing is I had thought about the daylight savings time for over a year because they were going to implement it when Trump took over, and then they said, no, we're not doing it. So I just decided to tweet that out, and it's like, okay, calm down. But dude, people on social media, it's just miserable. How much money does your ad revenue get you on X? About $100. So you get paid every 2 weeks on X. With my, you get, I mean, what does it buy me? A fucking Subway lunch? I get $100 every 2 weeks, maybe $150 sometimes. But you know, it's not a revenue source for me.
At Alexis Jen tip $5 through Super Chat. Thoughts on Mayor Frey honoring George Floyd before fallen veterans on this Memorial Day? I'd if I can vote invite losers over Indians like Vivek.
Yeah, no, he voting for him, well, it's a little bit different with him. It's a little bit different with him. But his tweet got ratioed like 10-1. His tweet had 25k replies and 4k likes. The BLM stuff is dead. The BLM stuff is dead. It's gone. His tweet got just annihilated. I saw that tweet too. I do like I love the tuna sub. That's what I like. Wow, this is pretty interesting. I didn't expect this amount of donations, I'm not gonna lie.
At Neon Panda 8153 tipped $50 through Super Chat.
The panda. The panda with a $50 super chat, thank you. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of donations. I don't know. This has got to be a yearly high for me, honestly. What do you think about, there was one tweet that said, what is peak wokeness? And then there were all these replies. I got to find that tweet. Yeah, and one of them was him in front of George Floyd's golden casket. Bro, liberals, this stuff is so retarded. Like, and he was crying. Where did all your whales go? They swam away. The whale? Yeah, remember the whale? And there were a few different whales. The orca? The panda. That was a nice donation from the panda. You think I've been shadow banned? I don't think so. Cuz I still see my stuff sometimes on my own algorithm. It's not even going to read it, dude. You have to tip $5 for it to read. Tip $10,000, but it's not going to read it. Ha! Oh, the panda. Listen. Wait for this one to come in.
At Neon Panda 8153 tipped $50 through Super Chat.
This is a huge spree for me. This pays for my rent. Thank you to the panda. You're here for easy cash. Yeah, it's been a while. Has politics also affect this garbage dating scene? Well, women are way more into politics now, so of course. But a lot of it with women, if you're good enough looking, they don't give a shit what your politics are. It's complete bullshit. But honestly, dude, it helps. If women are really that far into politics, it's not even worth, it's like, if they're going to say, well, I'm not going to date you because you're conservative, then we don't have values that would match anyways. Yeah, you'd want to date somebody that's apolitical, 100%. Apolitical or conservative, obviously, but what do you think of the actual experience of going to the movies? Please give 1 to 10. Going to the movies is a great experience. Going to the movies is back in style. Everything's sold out. Everyone's been going to the movies. We love it. Yeah, I go to the movies a lot of time. This has been a great run with these horror movies, but going to the movies is very enjoyable. People do this thing where it's like, oh, just order it online. Yeah, but it's not, you're really not immersed into it. It's especially with horror movies, you're not going to get a good experience. You watch it at home. It's not going to be scary. Final Memorial Day message. My final message is respect to all the veterans of the United States, and shockingly, the number one's biggest superpower we've created in the span of 250 years. It's remarkable. And we salute all the veterans and all the servicemen and women. Yeah, I watched the movie Obsession. Take a look at my community post. How do you think Gen Z will react to Scary Movie 6? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very good. It's a money grab. And the comedy is probably pretty light for a lot of Gen Z kids anyways. It's just a money grab when you're talking about another scary movie. I've seen the Scary Movie trailer like 3 times now in theaters because I've been going to these movies. I'm tired of seeing it. All right, we get the Scary Movie gimmick is coming out. Alexis. Well, we'll let it rate it. Dude, now it's not even gonna rate it. Is Andrew Tate even American? He was born in Washington, D.C. Who knows at this point, honestly? I know he was born in Washington, D.C. It's one of the more random things. You're forced to vote either Myron Gaines or Andrew Tate for U.S. Congress in your district. All right, we'll let it read it.
At Alexis Jen tip $5 through Super Chat. You're forced to vote either Myron or Andrew Tate for U.S. Congress in your district. Who?
Probably Tate. You saw the Mandalorian movie, diehard Star Wars fan. You understand how trash almost everything has been with Disney, but this was a solid movie if you have zero expectations. Dude, that movie is insane. The Mandalorian Star Wars movie, there's 30 showtimes. 11:10, 11:30, 11:45, 12:10, 12:15, 12:40. That movie has like 100 shows times.
At the man in the box 90 tipped $10 through Super Chat. What's the best Friday the 13th? Of course it's part 4 with Corey Feldman. Those movies I grew up with were wild. Corey exposed the peas in Hollywood and that got him banned.
Those movies all blended together. No, that was a good series, Friday the 13th. It's classic horror. Thoughts on Dan Bilzerian running for Congress? I think it's an attention
At custard
grab.
_ mustard _ 5,000 tip $9.99 through Super Chat. DG unexpectedly becomes President TMRW. What are the first things he does on both foreign and domestic policy?
Immigration moratorium. I guess that would be a combination of foreign and domestic. I don't know, man. Am I stuck with the Iran war? Or not? And I have to also be briefed on the situation, but preferably, well, dude, the Iran war is so bad. I don't even know what to say. But we would go ahead and think of something foreign. Jose, thank you. How did moving go? No, I haven't moved yet. The Iran war would be over. Yeah, realistically, if there's a change, the Iran war would have to be over. So if the Iran war was over, I don't know, dude. It's all so complex. Like you would like to say, well, I mean, even ending funding to Israel. I don't even. I guess ending funding to foreign entities, ending funding to Israel, ending foreign lobby groups. I don't know. Military budget. Yeah, but that's more of a that has to go through Congress through a bill. But I don't even know. What do you want to up the military budget again? It's already $1 trillion. Kind of workouts do you like to do? I don't do many workouts anymore. I just say do full body work. Well, not full body. No, that was always. I would just say just do just target a muscle group per day. Well, with Iran, it depends what the goal is. You could handle that situation a lot of different ways. But the problem is if you want to be aggressive with them, which I know a lot of people want now because, Iran is like getting this confidence. It's just going to end up with fucking higher prices for everything. So is that really worth it? If you were in control of Trump's mind January 2025, what would you have done differently? I would have in the terms of the cabinet, they would have been people with more experience than some of the people that he brought on for his cabinet. I think experience was a bit of a problem. And there were some mistakes with some of the women. Stopping a nuclear run is worth losing Congress. Yeah, but the problem is Americans don't believe Iran was going to be nuclear, so it's like a moot point. Like, if you could actually prove that he did that, then he would win a lot of grace back. But people are just going to say Iran was never going to get a nuclear bomb. He just did it for Israel. Will you watch the NBA Finals? Maybe I'll watch a game or two, some of it. I mean, the Knicks are in, so that's interesting. I mean, when's the last time the Knicks have been in the finals? I'm really not interested in basketball, honestly. In terms of what Trump should have done differently, his cabinet, his AG. You have a moving company, box truck, probably have $700, $900 left a month because of gas. Yeah, I would imagine it's probably. What do you raise your prices then? Do you raise your prices to move stuff because gas is more expensive? Dude, honestly, that's kind of what happens. Like, Cleveland's down 3-0. These teams just give up on it. Like, they have no chance. They just give up in the final game. How are the Cavs in the playoffs? They beat the Pistons. They literally beat the Pistons. What are you talking about? No, I'm not even. I haven't even watched the Cavs this year. Dude, this lady's not gonna read it, or it's like the same. Oh, there it goes.
At custard_mustard_ 5000 tip $9.99 through Super Chat. Full-time watcher but much more pro-Israel, not Jewish. Curious why you thinking cutting funding to Israel is the right move. I do think despite everything they are important.
You said you do think despite everything they're important to our national defense. Yeah, I don't think they're really important to our national defense at all. I mean, what Middle Eastern country is going to do anything to the United States? You know, Mossad gives the U.S. information with a lot of the Middle Eastern, with a lot of the Gulf states. I just don't think the Gulf states are extremely important in terms of possibly causing harm to the United States. I don't see how that's a realistic worry. But other than that, in terms of cutting funding, well, the U.S. has a very interesting deal with Israel in terms of military funding. That would be why, relative to other countries. You rather have a fit cop or a sharpshooter cop? Fit. You're not 99 times out of 100. You're not going to get into a situation where you shoot. So you want the fit cop. The police force should be fit. A fat cop or a woman cop? It's a fat cop. But how fat is he? Is he? If he gets to a point, you know, you wouldn't think it, but you do see morbidly obese police. I've seen a few of them. I saw this one poor guy, super obese, with this black woman. Of course, this black woman's like taking off. She's about to get in her car. I think he might have gotten killed or something. I forget the situation, but I remember seeing something where he was trying to chase her. It's just not. You're putting these people. It's like you got to have some level of physical fitness to do a job like that. Iran was just trying to build nukes, but come on, what can a Middle East nation do? Dumb take. But I mean, let's actually go ahead and play through this. Let's say they actually created a nuke. Are they going to bomb the United States? Are they going to nuke the US? There's a lot of countries that have nukes. Supposedly Pakistan has nukes. Like, to say that they get nukes, they're going to nuke the United States. Do you think that's going to go well for their country? You think they would make that strategic decision to nuke the United States? I think it's just Israeli wish casting to say, oh, they're just going to nuke the US, so we have to. Obviously, Israel wants full control of the region, so they want Iran weakened. So the idea is they have to convince Americans that Iran is a serious threat.
At Alexis tip $5 through Super Chat. Why are the state troopers who do nothing but traffic are fit, while the local cops who are actually responding to emergencies are fat?
Well, it's anecdotal. I mean, that's not how it is with every police station. 8 with high body count or 6 with low body count. Well, what are the numbers? Now I'll take the low body count. And it also, the higher body count is more likely to have problems in the relationship and just not. It's just not an attractive thing. What's my take on Bitcoin Ethereum situation? Well, Ethereum has sucked. There's no denying it. Ethereum is the same price it was 7 years ago. It's not good. Or 5 years ago. We got permanent daylight savings before GTA 6. I don't even know if this is actually going to happen. I think it's got to go through Congress. There's a lot of arguments both sides. Maybe it'll end up just staying what it is cuz Trump originally wanted to do this in 2025. Crypto has cycles, do research. Dude, I've been in crypto since 2017. Yeah, and you understand in Ethereum's last cycle it didn't even reach the previous cycle's all-time high. That's why I said it hasn't been performing well. Objectively, Ethereum sucked this past cycle. Thoughts on AI coins? Should I invest? BitTensor? No, I mean, I don't know. Higher caps, bro. You'll get destroyed. You'll get destroyed in crypto 9 times out of 10. In altcoins. I would say Bitcoin or Solana. The returns are not as high, but Arizona has permanent daylight savings time. States can probably just do. Is that what Arizona has? Does Arizona have permanent DST or permanent standard? It's one or the other. Somebody was telling me they have permanent standard. No, they have to have permanent DST. Oh, you were talking about somebody else? Okay. They do have permanent standard. Arizona is the one state that has a permanent. But I don't know if it's standard or DST. In Hawaii, you don't give a fuck, you don't adhere to it. Do you have permanent standard? The problem is you're going to have crazy early mornings. That's the issue. The sun will rise at 4 a.m. If you ever run for office, what would your ideal position? Governor of a conservative, heavily white state, honestly. No daylight savings time, permanent standard time in Hawaii. But it's like even standard. How did they even come up with standard time? You think about it. Like,
At the man in the box 90 tipped $10 through Super Chat. In Jefferson Park, Chicago, all the cops are fat. It's the retirement district. You don't want to be in Englewood or West Rogers Park after the sun goes down. Damn, even when the sun is up. Chicago.
you know, the crazy thing with those cities is because of the demographic situation, it's like you have to pay in certain areas to, you know, have favorable, preferable demographics in these cities. The more expensive areas are heavily white. I mean, that's what it's turned into in these cities now. Because there's, you know, I went to Chicago probably in 2015. I enjoy the cities. I enjoy urban areas. But you go down a wrong path, it becomes an issue. There's good community spaces in urban centers in the U.S., but they're getting worse. And it's starting to leak all over the place. But there's like good parts and there's bad parts of all these cities. And they're separated. The sun should be at its highest point at noon, plus or minus 30 minutes. Yeah, but then shouldn't we have more accurate time zones? If we really wanted to do that, we only have, you know, a certain number of time zones. Some of these cities are right on the border of one time zone and another time zone, and so their sun hours are warped. So if you actually wanted to have direct accuracy on the sun rising, you would need more time zones, I feel. But then it would be more confusing for the country. Yeah, my dog hated fireworks. But it's like an anxiety thing. Dogs in general don't like fireworks. Yeah, China has one time zone. It's terrible. You got to look at the eastern side of their country, and when the sun rises, it's ridiculous. This is the big victory for Trump if he can get the uranium turned over. This is what they're going to advertise as the victory. Yeah, how does this get 1 million mentions or whatever it is, 1 million views? Doesn't really make sense for this to get this many views. You take a look at my page. Vsauce has a video on time zones. Example being if you walk 100 feet away, it's technically a different time zone. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because obviously the sun is going to be in a different position at 100 feet away, even if it's hard to, you can't really tell. Is esports embarrassing? I used to like to watch esports like Call of Duty in like 2017, 2018. But I don't know. I mean, it depends how much money you're making. It's looking more likely the war is going to drag on longer. Yeah, the redistricting has been a pretty big victory for Republicans. They're going to try and counter it in 28, but Republicans will probably also redistrict more in 28. It's just going to keep getting kicked down the road. The states are going to become more mangled on both sides. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. Yeah, the new Ryan Field will sell out. Of course it will. It's a new stadium. But I don't know about, like, later in the season. Guys, make sure you like the video down below. Thank you for tuning in. That was a good live stream. I was surprised at the donations, honestly. All right, guys. I'll see you.